My bill that I've introduced dealing with the caliber weapon, I've held an AR-15 in my hand. I wish I had it. It is as heavy as 10 boxes that you might be moving. And the bullet that is utilized, a 50 caliber, these kinds of bullets, need to be licensed and do not need to be on the street.
Okay, guys. So, been hearing about this bill for about a week now, and we all know that the liberals took over the House of Representatives. They have taken over the Senate, and now they have the presidency as well. So, what can you expect when that happens? Control, control, control. And the nutbag, and I'll tell you nutbag because you just saw the video on there, Sheila Jackson Lee. This lady really, wow. She's a nutbag. That's all. That's the only way I'm going to say it. But she has proposed HR127, probably one of the most extreme gun control bills I have ever seen. It's pretty crazy. So let me tell you what's going to happen, guys, with this gun control bill. I'm going to explain this bill to you guys. I'm in her back room. That's why you see her mess and you see the back of Dana's head back there. But I'm going to explain this bill, go over it right here. It's 7 pages. You can print it off. But what's going to happen here is this bill is going to get pushed through committee. And before it gets voted on, it's going to get changed. It's going to get changed a little bit. And Republicans are going to go all up in arms. Oh, my gosh, especially the rhinos. The NRA is going to get involved. They're going to talk about how they're protecting your rights, even though they're spending $10 million on houses and private chartered planes all over the place. But they're going to protect your rights. They're going to go after them right here. All these people protecting your rights are going to get involved. Well, instead of just saying, no, this isn't happening. We're voting this down. We're not doing this. They're going to go in and negotiate. And when they go in and negotiate, that's when you should be really, really scared. Because this is a crazy gun control bill. It is nuts. Now, only a nutbag could come up with this. Sheila Jackson Lee, she's a nutbag. I'm sure now I'm a domestic terrorist for calling Sheila Jackson Lee a nutbag. I mean, you saw the video that we posted right before this came on. She's a complete moron. But what's going to happen is they're going to negotiate just a little bit out of this here and a little bit out of this here. And we're going to have universal registration and universal background checks. And we really fought for your rights. And we got this taken out. And we got this taken out. No, what they did was negotiate away your rights. That's what the NRA has been doing for years. That's what these rhino Republicans have been doing for years. None of them are actually fighting for your Second Amendment right because it says shall not be infringed. I don't know why they can't read. They're all lawyers. You would think that they could read the actual Second Amendment, but they can't. They can't interpret it. They can interpret pages and pages and pages of law any way they possibly want, but they can't interpret shall not be infringed. Well, I can. It means this, bullcrap. Any other gun control laws, bullcrap. But here we go. We're going to talk about this now. So this is HR 127. Introduced by Sheila Jackson Lee. She named this bill after a little girl that got killed in a shooting. They always do this right here. They always name these bills after someone who died in a tragic shooting accident, a mass shooting, or anything like that. I'm really not sure which one this one was named after, but it was named after a poor little girl that got killed. They always capitalize on poor little children. And it's pretty disgusting, to be honest with you. They capitalize on their deaths to take away your rights. It's really disgusting. I haven't seen any of them name any of their bills after the aborted babies that they support being aborted every day. But it's another topic. Here we go. Licensing of firearm and ammunition possession. Registration of firearms. Not just firearms, ammunition. So if you guys think ammunition prices are high now, you wait till you see the damn $800 license you're going to have to buy to purchase ammo and firearms once they get a hold of this. So this is basically going to be ran by the Attorney General, which I think Biden has nominated Merrick Garland, who is completely anti-Second Amendment. He has went after the Second Amendment on numerous occasions as a judge, which is not his duty. But as Attorney General, they're going to make it his duty. Them and the ATF, they're going to use the ATF to go after it. Under the Firearm Registration Center, the owner of a firearm shall transmit to the Bureau. This is the registration part. All of your firearms that you currently own will be required to be registered. Registered. Listen to that. Not purchasing from here on out what you have at home. They are requiring you to actually register them into a database, the make and model and serial number, the identity of the owner, the date the firearm was acquired. Some people don't even know what date their firearm was acquired. Where the firearm is and where it will be stored. A notice specifying the identity of any person to whom and any period of time during which the firearm will be loaned to a person. That person also needs a license. It's great. A lot of fun. So, the deadline for supplying the information, you will have 3 months after this bill passes to register all of your firearms. Here's the best part. A database of this. The Attorney General shall establish and maintain a database of all firearms registered pursuant to this subsection. The Attorney General shall make the contents of this database, here you go guys, here you go, the contents of this database accessible to all members of the public, all federal, state, and local law enforcement authorities, all branches of the United States Armed Forces, and all state, local, and local governments as defined by the Bureau. All members of the public shall now have a record of every gun that you own and where you stored it. Think about that. Just think about that. So thieves all over the country now have public record of where all your guns are and what guns you own. And ammunition. Guns and ammunition that you currently own. Are you kidding me? Are you seriously? Are you kidding me? That these guys are idiots. So thieves all over the country will just know exactly when you're at work where your guns are. There you go. That's the genius of Sheila Jackson Lee. Let me tell you. Okay, a general license. So a license just to purchase a firearm. Let me tell you what. I would you guys, anybody that disagrees with the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is there. It is. It says shall not be infringed. But anyone who doesn't believe the Second Amendment is right, it still is a right. Do you think that it would be okay to put a tax on voting? But because it's pretty much the same thing. I don't think there's anyone out there that thinks that you should have to pay an $800 tax to go vote. Right? So why in the world, and there's no, the voting's not in the Bill of Rights. It's not. But the Second Amendment is. The right to keep and bear arms is in the Bill of Rights. So it is 1,000% a right. But do you think it's right to put a tax on that? It's like putting a tax on free speech. You can say whatever you want as long as you get a $800 permit. I mean, free speech is under attack in this country. I mean, at massive levels, but that's a different topic for us to talk about. They're going to put an $800 tax on a license for you to get to own a firearm or ammunition. $800. Think about that. That's crazy. So now, not only do you have the cost of the firearm, the cost of the ammunition, you have an $800 license fee on top of that. That's not it. You think that's it. That's not it. I'm going to read some more things in here. But basically, you are putting the Second Amendment only to rich people or people that are well off. Because most people under the poverty level can't come up with $800 plus the price of a gun or ammunition. It's crazy. So the only people that are going to be allowed to protect themselves in this country are rich people. I mean, that's what they want anyway. They want to ban guns completely except for the people who are protecting them. They think guns are bad except for the people who are protecting them. They want to be protected by guns, but they don't think you should have the ability to protect yourself with a firearm. They have all the security. Their security owns handguns. They own military-style firearms. They own full auto. They own everything, but you can't own all that. No, not you, the peasant. Peasants can't own that. Okay, so back to this. The license. You must be 21 years old. You have to pass a criminal background check done by the NICS system. You already have to do that to buy a firearm, but now you're going to have to do it to buy ammunition. Here you go. Undergo a psychological evaluation conducted in accordance with paragraph 2, and the evaluation does not indicate that the individual is psychologically unsuited to possess a firearm. So you have to go to a shrink, and this shrink can use his own bias authority to say you can't own a firearm. You could have said this shrink could be the biggest Biden supporter in the world. And if they found out that you voted for Trump, or they found out that if they found out you didn't like their dress, your Second Amendment right is struck down right there. It's gone. It's gone, people. Because some shrink has the power to tell you whether you have the right to defend yourself or not. The psychological evaluation, let's see. You have to complete a training course. 24 hours of training, 3 days, 3 8-hour days of training. First off, that'd be exhausting. Second, you don't have to have 24 hours of training to drive a car. More people die from driving a car in automobile accidents every day than die from gun violence or anything like that. That's included with the suicide rate. That's including people killed with guns with the suicide rate added in there. You take away the suicide rate and the people killed with gun violence is significantly lower. But you don't have to have 24 hours of training to drive a stinking car. You don't. Hey, you only got to be 16 to drive a car in this country. Again, I mean, some of this is absurd. Nobody has... You would literally have to take your vacation to go train to get a license to buy a firearm. Then you have to have insurance. What a scam, right? You know, the insurance companies were like, hey, Miss Lee, we'll take you to the Caribbean this month if you throw in that you got to have some insurance in that bill. I mean, insurance is already a Ponzi scheme. But you got to have insurance to own a freaking gun. Nuts. So, the Attorney General shall issue an individual license. You have to have a license to display an antique firearm. So, according to this bill, you can't display any of your firearms. They have to be locked up securely. But if you want to display an antique firearm, we have a single shot 4570 here. It's the only one in the world. It's a Marlin 1881 engraved. For us to be able to display that, or me to put that in my home on display, I would have to have a freaking license to display this. That's crazy. A psychological evaluation. We've already kind of went over this a little bit. It's the evaluation is conducted by a licensed psychologist approved by the Attorney General. I'm going back to college, guys. I'm going to get a psychology degree, be a licensed psychologist. Bam, you get a license, you get a license, you get a license. I mean, this is absurd. The psychologist can literally just say anything they want, whether they want to issue a license or not. Let's keep going down. Denial of a license. So if you have ever been hospitalized with any sort of mental illness, disturbance, or diagnosis, including depression, homicidal thoughts, suicidal thoughts, attempted suicide, or addiction to a controlled substance or alcohol, or brain disease, you are disqualified. Ever in your entire life. It could have been 30 years ago. If you were ever diagnosed with depression, there are a lot of Americans with depression in this country. But if you were ever diagnosed with depression, gone. Your Second Amendment right's done. You ever had a drinking problem back when you were 21 and now you're 51? You're done. Controlled substance. They let these doctors prescribe all these pills all the time. And I'm sure marijuana will probably be legalized here soon, but I'm sure it'll be considered a controlled substance, and you won't be able to purchase a gun then. But they let these doctors prescribe these pills. You get addicted to it one time and you kicked it. Hey, you can't purchase a gun after that. You're done. You're done in this country purchasing a firearm. But I'm sure those crazy nutbags, Sheila Jackson Lee or AOC, I'm sure they can still have protection because they got plenty of money. Those guys have people walking around with firearms protecting them all day long. Let's see. So, suspension of license. If you don't have insurance, you can get it suspended. If you break any federal laws, you can have it suspended. If your license expires, you have a year to renew it, I think, without going through all the craziness again, like a psychological evaluation. That's what it seems to say here. Renewal of the license, 60-day period, begins with the date the license expires. So in one fact, it says if the license expires, you have a year to renew it. If it doesn't expire, you have 60. That doesn't make a lot of sense there. Let's see, firearm insurance. Okay, this talks about. All right, we'll skip that. We've already talked about firearm insurance. So the fee is $800. $800 on a license. So poor people, sorry, your Second Amendment rights gone. So certain guns and ammunition are banned. So basically anything that looks mean. Seriously, guys. I mean, they put the Colt AR-15 in here, which covers. They say a copy of it basically covers any AR style weapon at all. They put a Steyr AUG, the Tech 9, the Tech 22s. They put the Kalashnikovs in here, a Norinco SKS. That's anything that looks mean, copy of it, anything, it's basically banned. So any other semi-automatic weapon that has has the ability to accept a detachable magazine and has at least two of these: a folding stock, a pistol grip that protrudes a pistol grip that protrudes beneath the action of the weapon, a bayonet mount, can't stab anyone, knives will be illegal next, a flash suppressor or threaded barrel designed to accommodate a flash suppressor, oh my gosh, a grenade launcher, a semi-automatic pistol that has the ability to accept a detachable magazine and has at least two of this, an ammunition magazine that attaches to the pistol outside of the pistol grip, a threaded barrel, so you can't put a suppressor on it, a shroud. Actually, all they mean by shroud is they mean a handguard that keeps you from burning yourself, or a grip, a hand grip on the pistol. They're pretty much trying to ban AR-style pistols with this. Let's see. A manufactured weight of 50 ounces or more when the pistol is unloaded. So I think Desert Eagles weigh a little more than that. But I don't think that's the purpose of the 50 ounces or more. I think the purpose is to get AR-style or AK-style pistols that they consider assault weapons out of the pistol category. Let's see. A semi-automatic version of any automatic firearm. You can't have a semi-automatic version of any automatic firearm. What? It's semi-automatic. I'm guessing the only thing they're thinking there is that you can put in like a trigger pack or something like that to make it full auto. Jeez. I mean, it's already illegal. If it's illegal, why does it matter if you can put a trigger pack in it? If you're going to buy something that's illegal, if you're going to do it illegally, then why does it matter if you do something else illegal to add to it? It's absurd. Shotguns are the same way. At least two of these: a folding stock, a pistol grip, a fixed magazine capacity in excess of 5 rounds, the ability to accept a detachable magazine. So these detachable mag shotguns, no longer available. Let's keep going here. We're not quite done. It's pretty ridiculous that we're not done. So these will go into effect 1 year after the date of enactment of this act. The Attorney General shall prescribe final regulations to implement the amendments made by this subsection. Okay, here's the penalties. This is pretty funny here. Penalties. Whoever knowingly violates Section 922 shall be fined not less than $75,000 and not more than $150,000, and imprisoned not less than 15 years and not more than 25 years. So if you don't get a license and you're caught with a firearm, if you don't get an $800 license, you don't go through a psychiatric evaluation. I'm from Alabama, guys. Please excuse my pronunciation of psychiatric. You don't go through a psychiatric evaluation. You will get at least 15 years in prison. So I just looked this up. I did, just for comparison's sake. So owning a firearm, which is a Second Amendment right, it's in the Bill of Rights, gets you 15 years in prison if you don't buy their $800 license, right?
No.
If you molest a child, which is the most despicable thing that I can even think of, if you molested a child, the minimum sentence for that is 5 years in prison. So they think it is they think it is worse to own a firearm without a license than to molest a child. This is what these people think. This is how they think. They think you are a disgusting human being. You are a terrorist if you want to own a gun. If you ever talk about them, you are a terrorist. This is how they think. So we're not done yet. We're almost done. They have a prohibition of possession of certain ammunitions. You can't own a 50 caliber or greater. So anything bigger than a 50 cal or greater. So a Barrett 82A1, a lot of fun, not gonna lie. You can't own one, even though they're semi-auto. You still can't own one, according to this. You can't own any large capacity ammunition feeding devices. The ammunition gets hungry. You don't want to feed it too often. So you can't own any of those. The term large capacity ammunition feeding device means a magazine, belt, drum, feed strip, or similar device that has the capacity of or that can be readily restored or converted to accept more than 10 rounds of ammunition, but does not include an attached tubular device designed to accept and capable of operating only with a .22 caliber rimfire ammunition. So basically, 10 rounds or more, and if you can alter it in any way, you can alter any of those magazines. They're not hard to alter at all. But if you can alter it in any way, it's going to be illegal. So guys, pretty much Nutbag wrote this. They can get this passed. They have control. They have control of the House. They have control of the Senate. And they have control of the presidency. It's not far-fetched that they could pass this. Now, everyone out there, I can hear you right now. I'm not registering my guns. There's no way I'll register my guns. That's great. But they're going to make them illegal. If you get caught hunting with them, you get caught shooting, you get caught doing anything, driving around, and they ever come in your house for any reason, if a neighbor says you're crazy and they find that as reason to search your house, then 15 years in prison. The child molester next door is only going to get 5. But the good news is maybe they'll put you in the same prison. You can beat the crap out of him while you're in there. He's going to be out in 5 years. You're going to be out in 15 years. So the fact that they want to register anything to begin with is crazy. That's bad enough. The fact that they want to do this crap is just nuts. Guys, flood your senators, not just your senators, your congressmen, All of them. Flood them with emails, flood them with phone calls. There's only a few ways to get past stuff like this. You get them to vote it down by flooding them with emails and phone calls, threatening to vote them out. If that doesn't work, the alternative, nobody likes the alternative. I mean, but that's the only way to stay a free country, or semi-free country. We're not that free anymore. I mean, we can't even. We're called terrorists for speaking out against the government now. But there's only a couple of options, guys. And if this passes, you got to know the other options are coming, and there's nothing we can really do about it. But let me tell you, the Democrats aren't the only ones that we're having problems with. Marco Rubio, he's my senator. He pretends like he's my senator. He's not. He's a rhino. This guy has profited from lobbyists. I mean, the guy sold a house like 6 months after he bought it for $300,000 for $700,000 to like the uncle of a lobbyist who wanted him to vote on a bill, and he voted that way on the bill. I mean, that's documented. That's not BS. But this guy's a piece of trash. Marco Rubio is not a Republican. He is not a conservative. He needs to be primaried out as fast as possible. But he has reintroduced a bill that says that he claims will keep terrorists from buying firearms. If you are considered a terrorist, you cannot buy a firearm. That sounds great. Nobody wants terrorists. Nobody wants the guys who committed 9/11 on firearms, right? Right? You know what? You know who they're considering terrorists nowadays? The guys that were just at the Capitol. Not the ones who went into the Capitol. The guys who were just out there watching. The guys who were out there with signs. They're on terrorist watch lists now. They are. I'm sure I'm on some sort of watch list. It'd be real easy for them to put me on a terrorist watch list because they don't like the way I talk. Now they call it hate speech. If you speak out against the government, you're a terrorist. Watch your media. Watch them. They're labeling us all terrorists. The 70 million people that voted for Trump, they want all identified because they are claiming we are a threat to our government. They've gotten control, guys, and it's going to be a cold day in hell before they let us have it back. We're going to have to take it back. But we need to primary guys like Marco Rubio out. Just because he puts an R beside his name and we pretend like he's on our side. Oh, he's on our side. Marco Rubio's not on your side. He's a politician. He's a scumbag politician at that. Complete scumbag. Marco Rubio needs to go. Anybody that calls for any sort of gun control needs to go because they're going to use it against you. It sounds good. It sounds great. But they will eventually use it against you. You feel safe. You do. You feel safe when they pass these laws because no criminal can get to you. Criminals don't abide by these laws anyway. The only person they're hurting is you. So, guys, before I go, just let me tell you this. You need to call your senators and congressmen before we have to take other actions. Because we don't want to do things like that. And I'm pretty sure most of you know what we're talking about. But we're not going to give up our Second Amendment rights. We're not going to give up our firearms. We're not going to give up our freedom of speech. No matter how hard no matter how hard these liberals try, and the Republicans, there's a lot of conservatives out there that want you to give up your free speech and your Second Amendment rights too. It's always in the name of safety and protection, for your protection. Make your own damn decisions. You can protect yourself. You don't need a government to protect you. You surely don't need this crap right here to protect you. All right, guys, you have a great night. Like I said, flood these guys with emails and phone calls. Thanks.